absolutely amazing that Bitcoin created non-governmental fiat money. It's an unbelievable innovation and invented decentralized infrastructure and birthed our industry. It's an unbelievably great achievement, an amazing achievement that we now have scriptable smart contracts through something like Ethereum. Once again, monumental achievement in my opinion. Once again, we still need to look to the future. We need to look to how do we take the decentralized infrastructure concepts that Bitcoin initially put forward, that Ethereum then improved upon and created into these scriptable smart contract formats, and how do we expand that into the world of real-world outcomes to change the global financial industry, the global trade industry, the global data marketplace industry, and many other global industries.
Hey there, members of the Altcoin Buzz Army. Hope you're having a great afternoon. So Sergey Nazarov here. If you're unfamiliar with the name, he's the individual that you just watched there at the outset of this video. The founder, I guess you could say, really the brain behind Chainlink and all the exciting potential applications that we have there. I think Chainlink kind of gets swept up a little bit behind Ethereum, which Sergey here is referring to, because now people are waking up to the idea of Ethereum. And by his own admission, there's a lot of genius in that. There's a lot of genius in Vitalik's vision. And even taking a step back from that, there's a lot of genius in Bitcoin, right? That's kind of the way that we've built this system up. Bitcoin, store of value, non-programmable, but a great digital asset. And, it can do more than just being an asset, but that's the way that this market has evolved, right? And then on top of that, you have the equivalent of, let's say, a programmable Ethereum, or programmable Bitcoin, I should say, in the form of Ethereum and all the wonderful applications and potential that smart contracts open up to us. And Sergey here is doing something even more special with Chainlink. It's really the evolution of that idea. There's quite a bit more that's possible as, once you enter into that Oracle space. Chainlink, I think, the public at the moment is not ready for. But as far as what it can do, as far as its applications when it comes to data, we're really talking about almost by comparison, like light years in the future, right? So it's just nice to see a guy like Sergey expound on these ideas and also kind of giving some credit and validating the work of others, right? You always stand on the shoulders of giants, especially in the tech space. So shouting out to Satoshi Nakamoto and Vitalik Buterin. I do want to highlight the fact that, right now we're on a bit of a slump, and that's despite a lot of positive news in the space, but the traditional markets right now, wow, we're really feeling it. Wall Street is hurting at the moment. So we're on a bit of a slump, like I said, but Chainlink's still up 4% on the day. That's sliding. It was a little bit higher, above $43 just a moment ago, but it seems to be sliding back down off of its new all-time high, which I'm excited to announce was just set. So Link, ticker LINK, new all-time high of $44.27. That was set 3 hours ago. So we're just over 2.3%. We're 2.3% off of that very recent all-time high that was set a little bit earlier this morning on this Tuesday. And unfortunately, Bitcoin's taken a tumble. Crypto overall has taken a tumble. Very much kind of really being led, I think, in my opinion, so far. It's all still unfolding. But I think it's really the slump that we've been seeing right now in traditional stocks. Wall Street, NASDAQ is down. S&P is down. A lot of the indices are down. We'll take a look at that in just a moment. I wanted to highlight this here on Twitter because there is some positive news to discuss. Let's kind of start with more of the positive news before we wade into the negative here. But you have on, here we have Bitcoin Archive, I should say, give them credit, eBay CEO. So eBay is saying that they're now exploring Bitcoin and crypto payments as well as NFT auctions. This was a very exploratory kind of comment, so kind of non-committal here, but appearing on CNBC. eBay's whole business model, after all, is auctions and payments, and it's also geared towards, in many cases, bespoke items, right? Collectibles, not NFTs, in the fact that they're, well, in a way, they could be arguably NFTs, right? They're non-fungible tokens. They're not tokens, but they're non-fungible physical objects. For example, if I have, I'm just throwing this out of the ether here. If I have a totem pole business, I manufacture, I carve, I ship custom totem poles, right? With specific animals and whatnot, and iconography, and every totem pole that I carve, that I create, maybe that I paint, that I treat is different. That's a non-fungible item, right? That can't be freely interchanged with my other totem pole creations because they're all unique. Same thing if I'm a painter or I'm what have you, if I create gadgets or jewelry or whatever. This in a way has been really the model in a traditional sense for eBay for years, for the 20 plus years, whatever it's been, that it's been around. And so a migration toward NFTs in particular, I think is appealing, and I think it behooves the CEO of the company to be taking it seriously, to be considering it. So that's great to see. An even more natural, an even more organic transition would be one towards cryptocurrency payments. Certainly Bitcoin, certainly I would say the top 10 cryptos. I don't see why they wouldn't accept that in the near future. So for him to come out on a public interview and say, well, it's something we're considering, I'm sure it's much further along behind the scenes, and I expect to be hearing more out of eBay very soon. eBay is a big one. That would be a major check mark, of course. The biggest one would be Amazon. And I think the more and more precedents are set, the more and more Amazon feels comfortable taking that kind of an action strategically. So we're going to talk about the S&P in just a second here on Cointelegraph.com first. A little bit more positive news before we get into the negative. The S&P launches cryptocurrency indices, debuting with Bitcoin and Ether. So this is almost like water and oil now mixing for the first time. The S&P delving into crypto indices. S&P Dow Jones Indices introduces 3 crypto indexes or indices to bring transparency to the emerging cryptocurrency market. S&P Dow Jones, a major global resource, of course, for index-based data and research, has introduced its first crypto indices amid a renewed surge on crypto markets. The company announced on Monday, so yesterday, that it had launched 3 crypto indices tied to the performance of the 2 largest cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin and Ethereum. The newly introduced indices include Bitcoin-based S&P Bitcoin Index, that's SPBTC, Ether-based S&P Ethereum Index, that's SPETH, and S&P Cryptocurrency Megacap Index, S&P or SPCMC, which is designed to track the performance of Bitcoin and Ethereum weighted by market capitalization. All 3 are immediately available on the S&P's website. Why you wouldn't just want to go ahead and purchase Bitcoin and be the sovereign custodian of your own wealth, same goes for Ethereum, I don't know. But look, there are plenty of people with more exposure to the S&P versus cryptocurrency. And for those more traditional investors, if this is their gateway drug, if this is what they want to do in order to gain exposure to the crypto market, perfect. I'm happy for them. I offer no criticism. That's fine. Crypto is a big tent. This is that slow incremental expansion of the space. And if this is the model that people want to use, then more power to them. It's all good. It's all positive. Except, of course, when we get to the actual numbers today. So we're seeing, I don't know to what extent this is confirmed right now, so maybe don't quote me on this, but it seems like right now the Federal Reserve is hinting at the idea, or rumors are swirling, that there's going to be a halt, at least a partial halt to a lot of the money printing that they have been engaged in really over the course of these last few years. So some of the quantitative easing is going to effectively be abated somewhat. I don't think, even if they wanted to, I don't think that they could shut off the valve completely. I think that would destroy society at this point. We are debt-fueled drug addicts at a social level. I always encourage people to get out of debt as much as possible. Don't take on any debt that you don't have to. And I think I'm surrounded by a fairly responsible, group of peers and family and friends. But when society on a whole, wow, it's in trouble. People, unfortunately, that consumer mindset that we have, just like at a mass level, is just far too comfortable, in my opinion, with the idea of just accruing unnecessary debt. And we've become drug addicts to it. I'm not speaking for myself personally, but I'm part of the Western world, and the Western world is addicted to cheap debt. So for the Federal Reserve to then come out and, hint at the idea of easing up on the quantitative easing, so to speak. And they're also talking about, or floating the idea around, of perhaps adjusting interest rates, right? Which is going to affect the lending market, which is going to affect the home ownership market. This is also in combination with a lot of what we talked about in yesterday's video, the fact that right now inflation is really starting to soar out of control. So it's a multitude of factors here. It's actually just a recently breaking story as I sit down to record. So I don't have all the details myself. But, we talked about yesterday how you take a look at every staple commodity. You take a look at corn futures. You take a look at steel, aluminum, wheat, sugar, lumber, for God's sakes, lumber and timber, and, anything, even things like coffee, staple grains, everything is up like double digits, in some cases, triple digits over the course of the last year or so. And we're led to believe that, inflation is no more than 3 or 4 or 5% based on this outdated basket, the CPI of consumer packaged goods. That is so manipulated. That is so statistically dishonest. Like, there's inflation happening right now, big time. And for the Federal Reserve to come out and hint at the idea of modifying interest rates, of easing up on its quantitative easing in concert, in conjunction with those interest rates problems, this is the result. It's a big deal for the NASDAQ to be down more than 2% and for the S&P to be down 1%. Again, this is kind of breaking at the time of this recording. You can see so many popular stocks here. We're on CNN Business, are down. Under Armour, Boeing, Macy's, General Motors, Southwest Airline, big companies down. All of them 2-3%. It doesn't look like a whole lot when you take a look at crypto, right? Because right now we're experiencing a dip. Oh, Chainlink back up slightly. That's nice. We're down 4%, right? In the totality of today's market, we're down 4%. And many of us are kind of used to that and we'll say, well, we had a few up days in a row. We were up 5%, 6% these last few days, so down 4%. We're used to it. That's no big deal. But the volatility fluctuations across the NASDAQ, across the S&P, don't express themselves to the degree that they do here in cryptocurrency. So to be down 2% is a big deal in traditional market spaces. Unfortunately, they're not as resilient as the crypto space, just because they are more mature. So volatility to this degree is pretty serious, unfortunately. It's a moving story right now. This is a rapidly developing story. We're going to keep you updated as to how this goes, and we'll have more for you very soon. All right, we also talked about the other day Umbrella Network, which our understanding is about to be supported and integrated in a very big way into Binance Smart Chain. We're also going to have a dedicated video on that coming out very shortly to give you guys the whole rundown as to why we're excited about this project. For the time being, you can follow that's UMB Network on Twitter. This from yesterday. Excited to be covered by CoinDesk on UMB and our BSC, that's Binance Smart Chain integration. So I think it's more than a hint of a Binance Smart Chain integration. I think it's coming. With this migration, we're looking to reduce transaction costs by over 90%, enabling even lower data costs and shifting towards decentralization ahead of schedule. You can read more about that on CoinDesk.com. You can also read more about it on altcoinbuzz.io. So DeFi Oracle Protocol Umbrella Network, again, ticker UMB, migrates to Binance Smart Chain. A lot of the incentive here, the impetus, is the fact that Ethereum network fees right now are very high, and that's at least one of the reasons that have been cited here for the move. So decentralized finance protocol Umbrella is the latest to make a move from Ethereum to the faster and cheaper Binance Smart Chain. This was just announced. You can read this article, guys, by Martin. I will link to it in the description below. But that's it for today. Short and sweet. We're going to come at you with one more video this afternoon. But as always, guys, this is a rapidly moving space. Do be sure you're following us on all the regular social media channels. Keep checking back into our website. It is, as you know, altcoinbuzz.io for all the latest. Like, subscribe, share, and hit the bell to receive notifications. That way you are kept up to speed with everything that we produce, with everything that we publish. Guys, none of this is financial advice. You know that already. But if you do choose to invest, I wish you all the very best of luck. Stay safe on this Tuesday. We do hope to see you again soon in our next video. Take care.